So we're a little over a week out from election day. And one of the things that's really blowing my mind is how many Republicans and Trump voters around the country seem to be surprised that Donald Trump is completely out of his mind. It's not like we haven't been watching this man for the last decade. Literally, the last decade of American politics have practically been all about Donald Trump in one way or another. Whether it be half the country who absolutely loves him and all his bullshit and all his antics and all his racism and his sociopathy, and then the other half of the country who's the resistance to him. But I'm seeing so many people being surprised about his picks. How could he do this? I didn't think he was going to do that. When again, all Donald Trump has ever been is completely out of his goddamn mind. So let's go ahead and get into it. I waited a few days to do this just so we could rack them up. And now they done been racked up. So we're going to start with this. Matt Gaetz has been selected to be the attorney general. Now, before we get into it, y'all already know who Matt Gaetz is. But before we get into that, I do want to say that apparently Matt Gaetz has, like little to no trial experience. And, that in and of itself disqualifies him from being able to do this job whatsoever. But Donald Trump, he's just picking people who will let him do anything he wants. The Supreme Court has basically given Donald Trump immunity to do anything that he wants. The Republican apparatus has done nothing to stand up to him for the past 10 years. So there's no reason to think that, oh, well, Trump supporters, Trump Republicans and Republicans in the House and the Senate, they're going to have some guardrails. No, they're not. No, they're absolutely not. And in fact, after this, we're going to get into more stories about how they're not going to have these guardrails. But if you didn't know, Matt Gaetz is under investigation for sex trafficking minors and having sex with 16 and 17-year-olds and stuff like that. And on top of things, you know, for people who are in positions like this, if you're going to be the attorney general or the secretary of defense or anything like that, you really want people who are more experienced, not people in their 40s. You want people in their 50s and up who have really had experience in whatever that field is, and also have experience managing people beneath them. You don't want somebody who's barely got their feet wet in any field. But again, outside of Matt Gaetz and his clear sycophancy to Donald Trump, that's why he's in this position. That's why. And there's no reason for anybody to believe that Republicans are going to stand up to this in any way whatsoever. But Matt Gaetz, he's pretty much just he's in the ilk of the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boebert, who their career mostly is just about clout and clicks online. And that's now who's
he still has to go through the process. He still has to be vetted by the Judiciary Committee. And I think that's going to be the biggest indication as to whether he meets the standards of an attorney general. And I think we will move forward on that. But I'm not surprised that the president picked somebody that's going to shake it up, particularly at the Department of Justice.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I think about that.
I mean, do you have any concerns about it?
Matt Gaetz is being nominated for one reason and one reason only, because he will implement Donald Trump's transition of the Department of Justice from an agency that stands up for all of us to an agency that is simply an arm of the White House designed to persecute and prosecute Trump's political enemies.
Matt is very good at what Matt does in Congress, and now he's going to bring that to the Attorney General's office. And so I don't want to get ahead of what their plans are, but Donald Trump is very clear on what he plans to do with DOJ by giving it to Matt Gaetz.
There's a lot of questions that are going to be out there. He's got to answer those questions, and hopefully he's able to answer the questions right. And if he can, then we'll go through the confirmation process.
And look, yeah, there's going to be a confirmation process, but maybe there won't be, because again, at the end of the day, American voters have just vindicated Donald Trump and all of his personal delusions. That's what happened on election day. This dude got away with 91 felonies, and that's the only reason he was running for president in the first place. And now that he's gotten away with that, somebody like Donald Trump, a malignant narcissist sociopath, he thinks he's untouchable now. And in a lot of ways he is. As I pointed out, the Supreme Court has given him immunity to practically do anything that he wants. So now we're going to get into this plan, because I got a whole bunch of stuff pulled up for all the people that Donald Trump has picked. So before we get into that, let's see. We're going to look into Donald Trump's plan onto how exactly he's going to get this stuff passed, because there's no reason to believe that Donald Trump wants to go through all of the confirmations in a fair way. So here we go. Conservative Legal Insider reports Trump has bonkers plan to confirm unpopular cabinet picks. On Wednesday, President-elect Donald Trump announced several new nominations to his forthcoming administration, including Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio. Little Marco, again, another person, Marco Rubio, who has no qualifications to be Secretary of State. He's one of the just legitimately dumbest people in the Senate. No original thoughts of his own. Another person who will do whatever Trump wants. And we're seeing a lot of Trump supporters mad about this. Oh, I thought he wasn't going to pick the neocons. Why would you think that? Donald Trump is a neocon himself. So, of course, he's going to pick these people. Marco Rubio, who, has basically just affiliated all Palestinians with Hamas, doesn't care about Palestinian lives whatsoever at all. And then we'll get into Mike Huckabee, who is the ambassador to Israel, who says things like the West Bank doesn't exist. It's just Judea and whatever else he says, because he believes that we have to secure Israel as a one state so that Jesus can come back. These are the people who are now in charge of the executive branch of the government. Okay, so his bonkers plan. While Rubio is expected to coast through the confirmation process, Gabbard and Gates face much steeper paths due to the former's apologism for Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad and the allegations that the latter has engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, as well as accepted improper gifts. But according to conservative legal insider Ed Whelan, a regular contributor to National Review and former president of the Ethics and Public Policy Center, Trump might have a plan for getting them confirmed outside of the regular process. Again, of course he's going to do this. Of course he will. Donald Trump isn't going to stand for anybody telling him no, period. The end. Quote, hope it's wrong, but I'm hearing through the grapevine about this bonkers plan. Trump would adjourn both both houses of Congress under Article 2, Section 3, and then recess appoint his cabinet, wrote Whelan on X Wednesday. As predicate for Trump's exercise of adjournment power, one house of Congress would seek other houses' consent to adjourn and be denied. So Speaker of the House would need to be complicit in evisceration of Senate's advice and consent role. House Speaker Mike Johnson needs to say no to this right away. But again, they're just going to kowtow to Donald Trump and do whatever he wants because that's what they do. Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution reads, quote, he, the president, shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such a time that he thinks is proper. So again, in other words, if y'all don't do exactly what I'm telling you to do, then I'm just going to get y'all the hell up out of here and make things happen myself. And there's no reason to believe that Donald Trump won't do this. The dude led an insurrection. Okay. I mean, like, that's about as nuts as it gets. And he did it, and he just continued to deny it. So now we'll get into some Republican denial. The idea that Donald Trump is playing 4D chess with these picks. No, Donald Trump isn't playing 4D chess. He has no ability to play 4D chess. Nothing is ever chess with him. It's always children's checkers because he's an impulsive buffoon who knows nothing about anything. And I mean, that's just the truth. So now let's watch Hugh Hewitt. I haven't watched this yet, so we're going to react to it together. Hugh Hewitt speculates Trump may actually be trying to get rid of irresponsible and erratic Matt Gaetz. First and foremost, why would Donald Trump be trying to get rid of a sycophant? He's not going to do that. But also, all he has to do is not nominate him for attorney general. So what's the point in all this? Donald Trump doesn't move this way.
To the news of the day. I have no opinion on Tulsi Gabbard. I am assured by Lindsey Graham that she's smart and earnest and hardworking. The hearings, I trust the Senate. I have lots of opinions on Matt Gaetz, and you've heard me express them here for a long time. Kevin McCarthy has been my friend for 35 years, longer than I've known Dennis Prager. And Kevin McCarthy was ousted from the speakership because of Matt Gaetz. And I do not believe Matt Gaetz is responsible, and I don't think he should be near the fifth floor of the Department of Justice, and I trust the Senate. I do remind
Again, why do you trust why do you trust Republicans, period, to stand up to Trump? They never have and they ain't gonna do it now.
he's resigned from the House. Donald Trump could be playing 4D chess here because Matt Gaetz wanted to end the ethics investigation in the House. They lose jurisdiction when a member resigns, so that proceeding is closed, but their paper isn't closed, and that goes to the Senate Judiciary Committee. The FBI opens a full field background investigation of Matt Gaetz, and Matt Gaetz has to testify for as long as the Senate Judiciary Committee wants, and all of that is under oath, subject to the penalties of 18 USC 1001. And so if he lies during the course of that hearing, it's a felony. If he doesn't lie, he's going to have to persuade people that everything that's been said about him, and I'm not going to repeat it here because I don't produce, I'm not interested in rumors and innuendos and reports and gossip. All I know is he destroyed the Republican coalition and is often irresponsible and erratic. Not
Just like Donald Trump. Just like Donald Trump. So again, Hugh Hewitt here is just grasping for straws because nobody who's been paying attention to this dude since the 70s, because Donald Trump's been around for decades. He's not a new phenomenon. And even if he was, he's been running for president for 10 years. He's won twice. So again, the idea that Donald Trump might be playing a little 4D chess here, Donald Trump's an idiot. He has no ability to garner this type of foresight. He doesn't. He has no forethought. None. So shut up. I mean, come on. So we'll move on because I got a bunch of other stuff. We're not going to stay on anything for too long in particular. But now we're going to get into, people on Fox and Friends. They seem to be a little skeptical about Donald Trump's picks. And again, why would any of you think that despite everything Trump's done over the last 10 years, well, we'll get him into the White House and then he's going to start acting professional and he'll get down to business like he ever has done that. He's never done that before. So, you broke it, you bought it. I always thought Matt Gaetz was in the clown car. Fox's Steve Doocy and Brian Kilmeade extremely skeptical of Trump Attorney General nominee.
Second thing that I think is becoming to play that, look, I think criticism of Matt Gaetz and him being a firebrand is okay. He should still get, a vote and be able to defend himself there. I do not think it's fair to bring up what's happening in this ethics investigation when the Department of Justice dismissed charge. So if our chief law enforcement agency said there's not enough information to pursue a case, why are we turning it over to Congress in some investigation?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. If they were able, and especially under a Democrat, under Joe Biden, and they
and they said not enough.
Right, and with
no criminal charges.
Exactly, no criminal charges. And when he resigned from the House immediately, then the investigation goes away in the Ethics Committee.
Right, but the report has been written apparently, and Washington D.C. leaks like a sieve. And you can bet $1 to donuts if he undergoes the confirmation hearing process as is standard.
Well, I think
somebody is going to read verbatim from whatever it says.
I think Trump also wanted to pick someone who's been through investigations too. And what Matt Gaetz feels is unfair. He was unfairly treated. So I think that they can relate on that.
I think they can relate on that. Again, this 12-year-old ass discussion. I mean, God, our education system has failed us, but I don't really know what y'all want me to say about Americans right now. Like the idea that, we've just been duped and and I've acknowledged the Democratic Party's shortcomings, but that's just not an excuse to have reelected this guy. It just isn't. What we weren't all don't do this to me. Oh, do this to me. Okay, cool. Yeah, we was having a bit of technical difficulties, but again, so instead, y'all voted for a man who wants to dismantle the Department of Education, end Social Security, likely to sign a national abortion ban if and when it gets on his desk. Almost certainly going to get us into a war with Iran. Now with this administration, there's absolutely no hope for Palestinians whatsoever. I mean, that's better. Like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Like, come on. So, they sitting here talking about this like, oh, well, Trump can relate to Matt Gaetz because things are so unfair for Donald Trump. Like, bruh, like, again, what do you want me to say about America right now? You want me to say that we're an intelligent nation? That no, this is a stupid, dumbass country, and we fucked around, and now we about to find out. I mean, I really don't know what you want me to say. So we gonna keep this list going because we still on Matt Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard right now. We gonna keep this going and keep seeing what people got to say. Now we're bringing up John Bolton. Mr. John Bolton, what does he have to say? John Bolton calls on FBI to investigate Trump nominees Matt Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard, a serious threat to our national security. And it is true, despite the fact that John Bolton is a serious warmonger, this is the truth.
Message do you think Donald Trump is trying to send to China right now?
Well, I don't know. With his announcement of Tulsi Gabbard to be the director of national intelligence, he's sending a signal that we have lost our mind when it comes to collecting intelligence. This is up until a few hours ago, I would have said that was the worst cabinet appointment in recent American history. Of course, since Matt Gaetz's nomination, he clearly has taken the lead on that score. But it's not an indication that the administration is serious about one of the most important aspects. Why do you feel that way? Which is intelligence.
Why do you feel that way?
Well,
I don't mean to jump in.
Example. Sure. Let me give you an example of Tulsi Gabbard at work. The day of an intelligence briefing to members of Congress, January the 8th, 2020, when under President Trump's direction, the United States had eliminated Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Quds Force, Tulsi Gabbard said in an interview with Jake Tapper, and I quote, that she was concerned about the illegal and unconstitutional act of war that had been carried out under President Trump's orders. So that's the kind of person that we're going to put in charge of our overall intelligence community. I don't think either she or Matt Gaetz ought to have a confirmation hearing until they have both had full field FBI investigations.
Why do you
then I think the Chinese would say
FBI investigations
maybe
into
they are
Gabbard?
serious. I think so, given the Russian propaganda that she has espoused over the past period of time. I think she's a serious threat to our national security. I think Republican senators should reject both.
Again, these are Republicans saying this type of stuff. But, I mean, what? We have no reason to think that this dude is going to, I mean, come on, man. Oh, they're going to run it through the process. And again, in a minute, and it'll be another segment that won't be included in this video in particular, but we're going to get into Republicans in both the Senate and the House saying anybody who stands up to Donald Trump should be removed. Donald Trump has a mandate. He should be able to do anything that he wants. So speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, because we got more comments on Matt Gaetz. I mean, out of everybody that I've seen, when I saw him, I was like, okay, again, but this is what we signed up for. So get ready, because it ain't no taking it back now. And I know y'all seen after the election all the Google searches for how do I change my vote? What's a tariff? What Trump's deportation plans? Like, why didn't you look this up before? Again, what do you want me to say about Americans right now? What do you want me to say? Again, at the end of the day, voters are adults. You're not children. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It is, but it shouldn't be. So difficult for adults to care more about their future and the future of their children. And the idea that Donald Trump's economy was better, or that you're gonna make more money under him, is just completely ridiculous and unfounded. Completely unfounded. Now we're going to get into this. Trump picks former House Democrat Tulsi Gabbard to be Director of National Intelligence.
No, this was a name that we had sources that had been telling us that Tulsi Gabbard, the former Democratic Congresswoman turned Republican, would be tapped for the Director of National Intelligence role. And just here in the last moments, that's exactly what happened. Donald Trump announcing that Tulsi Gabbard will take the reins, if confirmed by the U.S. Senate, of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, of course, is somebody who rose to prominence back in 2017 when she took a secret trip to Syria to meet with President Bashar al-Assad. At the time, he was alleged to have ordered the killings of hundreds of thousands of Syrian civilians. It was a trip that was repudiated by Democrats and Republicans alike at the time that ultimately the U.S. was determining how it would engage and respond to the killings of civilians. And in the aftermath of that, she was hesitant to call him a dictator and was hesitant to condemn him for the actions that were taking place in Syria. Ultimately, she ran for president in 2019 as a Democrat. She was somebody that irked a great many other Democrats on that stage, taking on memorably then Senator Kamala Harris. Ultimately, in the aftermath of the 2020 election, she ended up going and making her presence on Fox News routine before becoming a close ally of Tucker Carlson, and somebody who then closely aligned herself with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. before just a couple weeks ago at a campaign rally that I was at in Michigan, going up on stage and declaring that she was now officially a member of the Republican Party because of Donald Trump and had sought to play a key role in his administration. She was, I'm told, an honorary chair on this transition team here. And now Donald Trump clearly trusting of Tulsi Gabbard and placing her in this critical.
She's just a grifter. Tulsi Gabbard, she's just a grifter. This is all just a big grift. That's it. Absolutely nothing more. And that's why she is where she is, because she sucked up to Donald Trump. Nothing. That's it. That's it. But again, you know, a grifter shouldn't be in these positions. They just shouldn't be. And it's par for the course for Republicans to do things like put coal lobbyists to be the head of the EPA, that basically what Trump did again. But this is a whole nother level of irresponsibility. It just is. So, all right, we got a little. We'll get back to Matt Gaetz in a minute. Now we gonna see Kristi Noem, who's been tapped to be the Homeland Security Secretary again. Why? What has she done such that this is the position that she should be in? What has she done? What is Trump, other than all, you know, central casting? Trump thinks she's pretty. She is pretty, but you know, other than that, what has she done? So again, Trump picks Kristi Noem to serve as his Homeland Security Secretary. President-elect Donald Trump has selected South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem as his next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, according to two familiar people. Kristi has been very strong on border security. Kristi has been very strong on border security, Trump said in a statement officially announcing the pick later Tuesday. She will work closely with border czar Tom Homan, who's a fucking sociopath. Tom Homan to secure the border and will guarantee that our American homeland is secure from our adversaries. Noem has been tapped to take over the agency as two key immigration hardliners, Stephen Miller and Tom Homan, are slated to serve in, and we ain't even got to Stephen Miller yet, are slated to serve in senior roles, signaling Trump is serious about his promise to crack down on his immigration pledges. With the selection of Noem, Trump is ensuring a loyalist will head an agency he prioritizes, and that is key to his domestic agenda. Again, you know, and here we go. Boom, longtime Trump loyalist. That is the only selection criteria that a simpleton like Donald Trump is looking for, especially in a second term where the only reason he was running for president in the first place was to get away with 91 felonies, which he just did. 91 felonies. He just got away with it. And now it's the world's his playground. Now he's just, oh, well, he's just going to do what he wants. So, you know, again, now we got Kristi Noem there, the dog killer, you know, the one who shot her dog. Matter of fact, hold on, we're gonna get into, because I got more for Matt Gaetz, but we're gonna save that for a minute. We got Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, but let's go ahead and get into Stephen Miller. Let me pull that up. I got quite a bit of stuff with him in a video, you know what I'm saying? A video with him losing his mind. Let's see. Oh, did I pull that up twice? Yes, I did. I'm sitting here acting like I'm sitting there acting like I'm doing a live stream, but it's okay, y'all. Give me a second. I'm looking for this video. All right, here we go. We got, now let's go ahead and get into Steve Miller, make sure I'm not missing nothing. And okay, I am not. So now we got Stephen Miller, who's one of the most racist people in the entire country. Okay, as y'all know, to be the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. So, just racism afoot, racism abound. Oh, God. CNN says the immigration policy hawk will serve under Susan Wiles, citing 2 anonymous sources. Donald Trump will choose Stephen Miller, the president-elect's top immigration advisor, as White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Miller, a vocal advocate for more restrictive immigration policy and mass deportation, served as a senior advisor and speechwriter to Trump during his first administration. He will serve under Susan Wiles, Trump's choice for chief of staff. Susan Wiles, who will be the first woman chief of staff, but it's in Donald Trump's staff. So, hey, Susan Wiles been in the game for a long time, and apparently she knows what she's doing in terms of getting people elected. So now we got Miller has said that the incoming Trump administration will pursue more than 1 million deportations per year, a tenfold increase over current rates, which will cost billions of dollars. Okay. So all you need, we know everything about Stephen Miller in terms of how big of a racist douchebag he is. All right. So we're going to get into Lee. Hold on. Matter of fact, before we get into that, let me show y'all this in case you forgot about this. This is Stephen Miller, a little taste of him losing his mind with a Latino reporter talking about Venezuela. All right, let's get into it.
What will happen? All these
day one.
All these criminal migrants that have been flooded in the country are going to be the first to get thrown out of here. I mean, you've seen case after case, these heartbreaking tragedies. Those ones are going to get found and deported first. And look at this Venezuelan gang. You have a Venezuelan gang that is taking over entire apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, and that's responsible, by the way, for some of the most heinous crimes that have happened all over the United States.
Yeah, again, Venezuelan gangs, they're just coming into the country and just taking stuff over, and law enforcement's just letting it happen.
The crime rate in Venezuela is down, I believe, a little bit over 60% over the last several years.
Are you trusting the official figures from the Venezuelan dictatorship?
Let's put it this way. If you're a dictator of a poor country with a high crime rate, wouldn't you send your criminals to our open border?
That wasn't my question. Are you trusting the figures of the dictatorships? Those are Maduro numbers.
I am believing that it is in the interest of a criminal dictator to let his criminals out of their jails and come to our country.
Do you have numbers, real numbers, not dictatorship numbers?
The Venezuelan gangs that have you've seen the CCTV footage. I have a question. Who do you think? Answer me this.
My family is from Venezuela. I know very well the situation of Caracas and many other cities.
Right, tell me, who were the people with the high-powered rifles in the hallway of that apartment building? Who were they?
They were gangsters from Venezuela.
Right. No American community.
But I was asking to you about figures, numbers,
what I'm
facts.
saying to you is the facts are the dead bodies. The facts are.
You said that Caracas has a lowest crime rate than the USA.
The facts are.
He can't answer the question, so he's about to deliver a meltdown very soon.
The mutilated bodies. The facts are the people in the morgues that are dead.
I was asking you about Caracas and the numbers in Caracas. Are you trusting the numbers of the dictatorship?
I am trusting the fact that Kamala Harris is letting illegal immigrants into this country who are raping and murdering children.
I had been very respectful. Why are you yelling?
Do you know who Jocelyn Nungary is? Do you know who she is?
Do you know how many people is experiencing violence in Caracas?
Who is she? Who is Laken Riley?
Why are you yelling again?
Because I'm yelling because children are being raped and murdered.
I was just asking for figures, and you have not replied to me about those figures.
Yeah, because he don't know what the figures are. He doesn't know, and he's sitting there talking about one person
murdered. Do you know who Kayla Hamilton?
Do you trust the numbers of Nicolas Maduro? I'm asking again.
I trust a ruthless dictator will empty his prisons and send their criminals to our country.
So you trust his numbers?
The most dangerous gang in Venezuela is
you trust Nicolas Maduro?
I trust that he does not want his criminals to be.
So you believe in his numbers?
I believe he's sending his criminals to our country.
And do you think that the crime rate in Venezuela have decreased?
Do you not believe the law enforcement reports of Venezuelan gangs in this country?
I was asking for the Venezuelan government figures, not the figures here.
Are Venezuelan gangs in this country or not? Yes or no?
What are the figures that you say to say that in Caracas the number is lower than in the USA?
Now again, you talking about Venezuelan gangs. What about the white supremacist gangs or the white supremacist movement that is MAGA? Of course, that doesn't matter. That's totally okay. That's totally fine.
Venezuelan gangs in this country or not?
So you don't have numbers.
You know who has numbers? the Department of Homeland Security. You can ask Mayorkas for numbers. You can ask the Director Ray for the numbers.
Sir,
I'm telling you.
you said
you think
that in
Nicolas
Venezuela
Maduro-
the crime rate is lower than the
Because-
USA.
Yes, because the
What are
criminals
your numbers?
here
That's
now.
my question.
Because the criminals are here now.
Those are Maduro's numbers.
I can tell you again that Border Patrol agents are encountering
Do you
thousands
trust
of gang
Maduro
members.
numbers?
I trust the border agents in our country.
But
And
they
I
are not
hope that
saying
you
that
have the
Caracas has a
fundamental-
lower crime rate.
Children are dead, and you are wasting my time.
No, I am not wasting your
Children are being
time.
raped.
I'm
Do
asking
you
for
have
facts
any
as a
remorse for
journalist.
do you have any remorse for the dead children? Do you care at all about the dead children?
Absolutely.
Then that's what I want to leave you with, is that Donald Trump
I
will
was
come
just
to
asking
office.
for figures.
Here's what's going to happen. Donald Trump is going to be elected president, and the migrant gangs are going to be sent home. Children's lives will be saved. And you know who will benefit the
Children's lives will be saved, but not if you're a poor child, not if you're a poor American. If you're a poor American, we're gonna cut your food, we're gonna cut your food stamps, get rid of the Affordable Care Act, we're gonna dismantle the Department of Education. Of course, just another case of give me a fucking break when it comes to Republicans pretending like they care about kids. It's just racism. That's all it is. No matter where it is that you come from in Latin America, if you come from Venezuela, if you come from Ecuador, if you come from Costa Rica, you're all just a bunch of Mexicans to white America. So keep that in mind. You're all Mexicans to them. Trump taps Lee Zeldin to lead EPA, the ex-congressman who previously voted against Biden's act aimed at combating climate change. Okay, so again, this is a tale as old as time when it comes to Republicans, but they're at it again. Let's go ahead and put somebody in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency who doesn't really give a damn about the environment. So there we go. Lee Zeldin says, "It is an honor to join President Trump's cabinet as EPA administrator. We will restore U.S. energy dominance." Again, we're already dominant in energy. We're already drilling more than we've ever drilled before. So this whole narrative, but this is America, so the truth doesn't matter. Revitalize our auto industry and bring back American jobs. We'll bring back American jobs. No, y'all are going to ship jobs overseas because that's what Republicans do. You're going to ship hundreds of thousands of jobs overseas, especially in manufacturing, and make U.S. the global leader of AI. We will do so while protecting access to clean water and air. Okay. So there we go. There we go. We get Lee Zeldin, a guy who is against protecting the climate. Now it's going to be his job to protect the climate. All right. So before we get into Mr. Musk, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, and I got a few more things pulled up for Matt Gaetz. Because again, he out of everybody that's been picked, he's one of the most wild people. But we ain't done. This is a longer segment. I wanted to wait a few days for more people to be announced. So now we got Elise Stefanik, again, another bootlicker, another sycophant. This is the only criteria that Trump is using. Nothing else. Just people who won't tell him no. The end. And she's the UN ambassador. A racist is now going to be the ambassador to the United Nations. Okay. Beautiful. Wonderful. And also someone who was a fierce critic of the United Nations in the first place. Okay, so she says, Elise Stefanik, she says, "I am honored to nominate." No. This is Trump. He says, "I am honored to nominate Chairwoman Elise Stefanik to serve in my cabinet as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Elise is an incredibly strong, tough, and smart America First fighter." With Stefanik, Trump is elevating a fierce critic to the UN as his emissary to the world body. The latest sign that he plans to make good on pledges to strongly support Israel on the world stage and play hardball with international organizations and alliances. Stefanik, 40, has made herself a household name among Republicans as a staunch defender of Israel. And as a vocal ally of Trump, her nomination is expected to face little resistance from Republicans in the Senate, given her leadership position and extensive relationships across Congress.
Let me bring your attention to Muhammad Abdu, who was hired after the October 7th terrorist attack against Israel. He, on October 11th, posted, "Yes, I'm with Hamas and Hezbollah and Islamic Jihad." He also decried false reports accusing Arabs and Muslims of decapitating the heads of children and being rapists. We know that there were decapitations of babies, of innocent Israeli citizens, of seniors, of women. There were rapes. And yet Columbia hired this individual as a professor. How did that hiring process work? Were you aware of those statements before the hiring?
I share with you.
Okay, so we got Elise Stefanik. All right, let's get into this. Former Trump official called. Hold on, no. Yeah, we already looked at that. Actually, we don't need to go back into that because we've already covered it. We have already covered it. All right. Now let's get into hold on, what we got now. The new border czar, Tom Homan, who again, as I said, he's a sociopath. That's what he is. And you can, when he talks, when he's interviewed, he's just mean. He's just a mean man. All right, here we go. Tom Homan. Trump border czar suggests undocumented immigrants should self-deport. We know who you are. I mean, look at him. Look at him. He looked like he ain't smiled in his whole damn life. The appointment of former U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director Thomas Homan as Donald Trump's upcoming border czar continues to dominate the headlines, especially considering his fiery rhetoric and willingness to conduct swift operations from his first moment in office. On Monday, Homan himself announced plans to increase workplace immigration raids as part of a broad crackdown in shares of private prison stocks such as the Geo Group and CoreCivic soared, fueled by investor expectations of increased demand for detention services and stricter immigration enforcement. Homan appeared on Fox News on the same day, suggesting that undocumented immigrants should consider self-deporting in anticipation of the next administration's planned immigration enforcement measures. Criminals and gang members get no grace period, Homan said. While we're out prioritizing the public safety threats and national security threats, if you want to self-deport, you should self-deport because, again, we know who you are and we're going to come and find you. So if you want to self-deport, matter of fact, let's just watch it.
Let me ask you this. Do you like the idea of maybe giving a grace period where people that did not respect our laws, borders, sovereignty, that maybe you give them 2 or 3 months and you say you can self-report and we will help deport you. We will send you back to your home country. And if you do that, we'll put money in your pocket so you can rebuild your life. Which would be a lot cheaper than paying for 3 nights at a 4-star hotel in New York and giving them a debit card. And in a year, after a year or 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, you can then apply to come into the country legally. If you don't deport, then you will never be given an opportunity at citizenship. And when you leave, you will never be invited back. You will never be able to apply to come into the country. Sound like a good idea or no?
Criminals and gang members get no grace period. But while we're out prioritizing the public safety threats and national security threats, if you want to self-deport, you should self-deport because, again, we know who you are and we're going to come and find you. So if you want to self-deport, that's fine. But criminals and gang members, they get no favors from this administration. You came to this country legally, which is a crime. You committed crimes against United States citizens, some heinous crimes. You get no grace period, so we're coming for you. But for those others, the non-criminals, you want to self-deport, I'm all for it. Because when they self-report, they can put their orders, put everything in order, their family business, if they got homes or whatever, they can put all that in order and leave with their family altogether. It makes perfect sense for the ones that are not criminals and not priorities.
How are they going to get home? How do they get home?
Well, the ones we're going home, the rest of them won't put on an airplane and send them home. And the ones that want to go home on their own, they found their way across the world to come to the greatest nation on earth. They can find their way home. Either that, or I'll give them a free airline ticket that we put them on our airplane and we'll take them home. It's either way. It's up to them. If we arrest them, they come on our airplane. Sean.
Either we'll smuggle you motherfuckers out, or you can smuggle yourself out. You came here illegally, so it's all up to you. Again, just callous cruelty. One more from Mr. Homan.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. families can be deported together.
There you go. Again, that so Latinos for Trump, who you think it's not going to be you, it's going to be you. I mean, that you think these people are not playing about this, and they're going to do everything they can before the midterms, and it's going to get ugly. It just is. You know what I mean? It just is. Hold on, I'm probably going to end up shortening this out because we've already been going for a minute. Now we got Mike Huckabee to be the ambassador to Israel. Mike Huckabee, who basically has said Palestinians don't actually exist. He's literally said this. Palestinians aren't real. The West Bank isn't real. None of that's real. It's just Judea. That's all it is, because Jesus has to come back here so that the end times prophecy can be fulfilled. Trump taps former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee for U.S. ambassador to Israel. President-elect Donald Trump announced Tuesday that he would nominate former GOP Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee to serve as U.S. ambassador to Israel. I am pleased to announce that the highly respected former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, has been nominated to be the United States ambassador to Israel. He referred to Huckabee as a great public servant who is loved by the Israeli people. He loves Israel and the people of Israel, and likewise the people of Israel love him. Mike will work tirelessly to bring about peace in the Middle East. No, he won't. He's not going to work tirelessly to bring about peace. These people want war. They want dominance over there. And it's a whole different tone than anything we would have seen with the Democrats. There's no hope. There's no hope for Palestinians as long as these people are in office. Absolutely none. None. They don't even want them to exist. And it's not hyperbole. It's not none of that. It's the truth. And we should, and voters just plain and simply should have seen it coming. None of this shit was, surprising. This is who Donald Trump is. All right, we got a couple more. We got a 44-year-old Fox News host who's been nominated to be the Secretary of Defense because, because it's okay. And here we go. Trump's defense choice stuns the Pentagon and raises questions about the Fox News host experience. None of that matters now. It's all about loyalty to Donald Trump. Nothing else, nothing more. Donald Trump doesn't care about being president. All he cared about was getting away with 91 felonies, and he's done that. He's accomplished that. So now he just is, he's going to do it. He's going to do everything he can to do anything he wants. President-elect Donald Trump stunned the Pentagon and the broader defense world by nominating Fox News host Pete Hegseth to serve as his defense secretary, tapping someone largely inexperienced and untested on the global stage to take over the world's largest and most powerful military. Complete disaster. Complete and utter disaster. The news was met with bewilderment and worry among many in Washington as Trump passed on a number of established national security heavy hitters and chose an Army National Guard major, well known in conservative circles, as a co-host of Fox News Channel's Fox and Friends Weekend. While some Republican lawmakers had a muted response on the announcement, others called his combat experience an asset. Okay, again, but this is another example of somebody who you want them to have lots of experience. People in these positions are typically older than 50. They're typically in their 60s at least, because they're like the Lloyd Anthony or Lloyd Austin, 4-star general. People typically in these positions are generals with multiple stars, people with real experience. They have real experience leading others, managing others. He has none of that. He was in the Army, yeah, sure. But then he went to Fox News, and he's 44 years old. He just doesn't have the experience to do this. He just doesn't. And so all this really is about is loyalty to Donald Trump. Nothing more, absolutely nothing more. And again, Lloyd Austin is a 4-star general. He's a 4-star general. He's who's there now. And this guy, he served in the military, but he's just a Trump bootlicker. That's it. All right. And now we got, now we got threats against Republicans that y'all better not stand up against Donald Trump's picks. Fox News pundit warns GOP senators on Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense nomination. I dare any Republican senator to vote against him.
He's been on that issue of what wokeifying our warriors and our warrior class.
And okay, before we even get further, the idea that the American military is woke, whatever it is, we're the most powerful military in the history of humanity. So
has done to military morale, to recruitment. He has been on the problems we've had in our deficit and recruitment like nobody's business. And man, that's going to be a big task for him to undertake when he gets into the Pentagon, which of course he'll get confirmed, no problem, given his incredible background. But that's a challenge because we've lost a lot of great men and women in the military because of how left things have gone inside the various branches. Maybe not the Marines, but the rest.
Yeah, I think it was Rob O'Neill who said, we're over here arguing about who should use which bathroom, and the Chinese are putting together a fighting force and building up their military. Pete understands this, and you do that by putting on the uniform and actually being out there in the combat theater like Pete Hegseth has. I think he'll get easily confirmed. I dare any Republican senator to vote against him. That is not in their best interest. And we need to get him in place as soon as possible. Relief is on the way. This is exactly what I think America was striving for. And I can't believe how excited I am that Pete is going to be. I guess Jason, I got to call him Mr. Defense Secretary, but I still want to call him Pete.
Again, there's just white people being white people, man. I mean, like, y'all. I mean, this is just completely insane. And after we got two more, and then we gonna close out with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead Health and Human Services. I mean, like this is just again. What do you want me to say about American voters? This is what we chose over just a very normal common sense selection. We chose insanity because Americans are fucking stupid. And I have no problem saying that. Slash and burn. Ramaswamy and Musk's Doge plans revealed. MAGA entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, tasked with running a government efficiency body alongside Elon Musk by President-elect Donald Trump, said Wednesday that he's ready to slash and burn America's bureaucracy. Trump announced Tuesday that Ramaswamy and Musk will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge. I mean, it's just so lame. Elon Musk, crypto coin, Dogecoin. Despite its name, the body will operate outside government, providing counsel to the Office of Management and Budget. Appearing on Fox News, Hannity, the former Republican presidential candidate who dropped out and endorsed Trump, forcefully argued that he and MAGA billionaire Musk will take a chainsaw to what he implied was a sprawling deep state of unelected bureaucrats. It's no secret. This is Vivek right here. It's no secret that there is a fourth branch of government, the administrative state, and that makes most of the rules, that creates a federal bureaucracy that's hampering most of our economy. So what do we want to do? We want to go and slash and burn that bureaucracy to help Americans, stimulate the economy to restore and self-governance. During the campaign, Musk floated the idea of cutting $2 trillion in federal spending while stumping for Trump. They're going to cut $2 trillion from things like Social Security and, child health care insurance program and, Medicare and all that stuff so that they can give more tax cuts to people like Elon Musk. I mean, this is so transparent. It's so transparent. Okay, so here we go. The $2 trillion, where is it? Non-mandatory and stuff that they're looking at, obviously. Yep, Social Security, healthcare programs, Medicare, Medicaid. Of course, we're gonna cut from programs that people really, really, really need to survive and to get by. And now we're gonna close out with this very long segment with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., expected to lead Health and Human Services. Oh my God, man. President-elect Donald Trump is expected to nominate former presidential candidate and anti-vaccine activist Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. The The expected pick, which will roil many public health experts, comes after Trump promised to let Kennedy go wild with health and food policy in his administration after Kennedy dropped his own presidential bid to endorse the now president-elect. It's also a sign of the opening Trump sees after he scored a decisive electoral victory and Republicans won a comfortable majority in the Senate. Trump could still select someone else for the post, but we'll see about that. Quote, he's going to help make America healthy again. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him do it. We're going to let him get to it. Go have a good time, Bobby. Kennedy, 70, may still face a steep slope to confirmation after his years of touting debunked claims that vaccines cause autism. Written a book accusing former National Institutes of Health official Anthony Fauci of conspiring with tech mogul Bill Gates and drug makers to sell COVID-19 vaccines, and said regulatory officials are industry puppets who should be removed. In recent weeks, Kennedy has hit the media circuit to say he isn't taking vaccines away from anyone. He said, I'm going to make sure scientific safety studies and efficacy are out there, and people can make individual assessments about whether that product is going to be good for them. Again, the fact that we're even at a place where we're questioning the efficacy of vaccines, when vaccines are the reasons why things like smallpox, polio, measles, and all of that, like, you really don't see them anymore because vaccines work. But that was a very long segment. Again, I wanted to kind of wait till more of these people were announced before I talked about it. And 50 minutes later, we done did it. Hey now. Thank you so much for tuning in here at Politics and Paper. If you like what I do and you support my work, go ahead and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it and really helps to support what we do here.